Hello and welcome to today's episode on the User Research Strategist. I'm really excited today to show you behind the scenes content on how I create and share artifacts to my stakeholders, specifically to product managers and designers. I know as a user researcher for the past 12 years, it can be difficult to create things that stakeholders actually have time to read, time to digest, and time to take action on. So I'm going to show you some ways that I do this. Askable does a really great job of taking your findings, and because they have all that context, the tool can very easily give you something that is actionable and effective for your stakeholders. One caveat that I want to say is a lot of the times we as researchers might write deliverables not really thinking about what the stakeholders 100% need. So this is a great way to experiment with how you are delivering research to your stakeholders. Please ask your stakeholders what they need from you at the end of a research project. Gone are the days of reports and presentations. I remember when I used to create very long slide decks. By the time I got to the findings, everybody was asleep. That's not how it works anymore. So all of these artifacts are geared towards different stakeholders and how we can help them move forward with their day-to-day and make those better decisions or feel more confident.
I want to talk through 3 specific ways in Askable where you can generate information that is super duper actionable for your stakeholders based on your research findings. The first one is the designer brief. Imagine we've done research, we're looking into a study for travel experiences, asking AI to help us out. If we were to do a designer brief and we wanted to prompt ourselves, we would say something like, I would really like a brief for my designer to help them turn these findings into a prototype we can then assess and evaluate. In this brief, please include things like top 3 to 5 most impactful issues or unmet needs. I would also say like the core user problem, specific improvements cited to user behavior, open questions the prototype could test. We want everything tied back to business, team, and success metrics per issue. Plain language only, keep it brief. What is great though is Askable has these buttons where we could just hit test prototype. We have Figma Make, we have Lovable, and we have Replit, generating prompts to build and test a concept based on all of that information. So let's go to Figma Make. So we have here a quick prototype opportunity, the cost calculator. It's tied to the friction point and it has a citation for the evidence, which you can go and understand a little bit more. It also allows you to highlight things, test prototypes from here, ask follow-up or dig deeper. We have here this particular opportunity, and then we have a quick prototype that you could explore in Figma Make. We have this prioritization summary, the prototype suggested starting point, the complexity, which is really cool, as well as the evidence strength. What I like is that this gives really concrete ideas. Oftentimes that can be a bottleneck because people will sit in this in-between state of what do I do with this? There are so many potential ideas or opportunities. This cuts down on that. That helps me with making really clear recommendations on what could be next for the designer to work on. And we can then evaluate that and create different concepts. Research comes back to being this cycle of very fast testing, very fast learning, and quite a lot of impact. And that brings me to looking at executive summaries. Whenever I've sat down an exec for a presentation, if it was ever more than like 2 slides, the exec would be out of there. And I've tried. I've tried very hard. Ultimately, where we're going as researchers is being better storytellers. It's being that glue, helping people move from inaction to action, from uncertainty to decision making, from being uncertain to de-risking something. This really helps us translate the things that look stuck in the weeds into things that people can understand. If you wanted to write a prompt like this, what you could include is I'm looking for an executive summary for VP and head of product, including the top 3 most impactful insights for the business and user. For each insight, please state the problem, business impact, supporting evidence, next steps, and why it's prioritized. Please tie it back to, I usually use pirate metrics if I don't know the company's metrics or the team's metrics. Acquisition, activation, retention, referral, and revenue. So these are usually the most important metrics anyway, just generally for businesses. Lead with impact and make it digestible. What I love here is we have create report and we have executive summary, deep dive, and custom report. You can create something that's short and an overview that is meant for execs versus a deep dive versus something more custom. So let's go ahead and create this exec summary. We have our executive summary. We have an overview. We have key research findings, primary pain points being the ones that are brought up. So hidden C, shock at checkout. We have all of this evidence coming up. I personally hate making clips. It is like my least favorite thing in the world to do because it just takes me so much time for some reason. So I really appreciate that this is just automatically generating clips that are useful. It makes it a lot easier for execs to see what is actually happening with executive summaries. They can get quite cut and dry. Like I'll just have like one slide of the most 3 important things and we are missing the context. It's a bit long, I would say. I would probably just focus on the top 3, maybe 5. I do like the next steps in terms of the prioritized prototype opportunities because that can showcase what we need to do next. And then recommendations, so immediate actions. So I would probably cut this down because it is long, but generally I do like it. One other thing that I would like to be able to do is put in real numbers here. So tie it into things that the company cares about. So what if I followed up, could you please in important metrics such as acquisition, activation, retention, referral, and revenue, or generate industry benchmarks for this. This is really awesome. We have retention signals that we could put in these industry benchmarks, which is fantastic. Would you like to update the executive summary to frame these opportunities under the risk signals structured around the pirate framework? Let's just say, yes, please. I would say the whole point of this is being able to put numbers in front of stakeholders, especially execs, and tying it back to the business is when they start to care. It's when things start to move forward, when decisions start to get made, when you also are seen more as the strategic partner and somebody who cares about the business and who cares about your audience and what they actually need from the research. Yay, we have this new exec summary. I would probably make it shorter. As I said, we have the pirate metrics here, which is great. So we have acquisition and the signal, which is awesome. We have activation. So it's broken it down by each of the metric, which I really, really love, as well as the recommended prototype to help with this. And then the prototype roadmap, which is fantastic. Every exec loves to see a roadmap, benchmarking recommendations, and then we have very clear next steps. I'm quite happy with that. I think the only changes that I would make would be making it a bit shorter and just being able to tie in those numbers to make it more concrete for the stakeholders. And finally, the last deliverable that I want to talk about is creating a more comprehensive report. For things like this, I typically like to use the pyramid principle framework because I find it to be the best one to present to stakeholders. They resonate with it a lot, which is leading with the insights and headlines and the evidence rather than like the whole background of the study and then boring people with that before you get to the good stuff. So if I were to prompt this, I'd include something like, I want a full report for my stakeholders, PMs, designers that includes an exact summary, detailed findings, supporting evidence, recommendations, and next steps, leading with the main insights, business impact, and recommendations rather than the methodological context. Instead of doing that, what we're going to do is we're going to create a report and we're going to do a deep dive. This is the more in-depth report. We have the executive summary here. We have core problems, which is great. And again, it's just automated video clips is like the best, my best friend. I have used QuickTime for such a long time trying to finagle milliseconds of a video clip. This is really great. Here we have overarching customer problems. We have the evidence. I really like how we've put acquisition and revenue in here. Retention risk. Your teams might have more concrete goals. You can, of course, prompt for more specific things that you might need. So more specific business metrics, product metrics, team metrics, things like that. But also everybody loves acquisition, activation, retention, referral, especially revenue, that is helpful as like a frame overall, especially if you're not as sure about the metrics that your company is looking at. We have the prototype opportunities, which for designers are really great. We have how the pirate metrics impact that. So that's fantastic. So for each prototype opportunity, we're looking at both as prioritized, low complexity, high impact. We also have the evidence right here, and we've have the pirate framework and how that's impacted by the prototype, which is fantastic, not only as a researcher, but as a designer to be able to tie your work back to that. So that's fantastic. I love that. We have this roadmap because everybody loves a roadmap. We have this other product strategy vibe happening here. So these are like more broad strategic information, which makes sense. Transparency beats upsells. Loyalty is only valuable if it's comprehensible. Yeah, these are like the big ones. That here's the generative research part of it. And I love this. Recommendations for immediate action and conclusion. Summary by theme. Okay, cool. Or evidence by theme. I love that. I really, really appreciate this in terms of just making it very clear, almost like what's going on next, with a whole lot of evidence here for people to dig into, because it just makes my life so much easier. I just love that like acquisition is here, and like the pirate metrics are here. What also could be really cool about this is you could probably drill down into if certain stakeholders have certain problems or questions, you could customize this to them. Oftentimes we make one report because that's all we have time to do. And one report usually isn't good for everybody, right? Trying to make reports more customized for each stakeholder, which in the past, to be completely honest, we really wouldn't have time to do, or at least I would struggle with time to do that. This would allow you to say, okay, well, what if one particular stakeholder is really interested in information architecture? Or what if one team is solely dedicated to loyalty points? Then you could like start to make customized reports for each team that really drill down into exactly what they need, rather than having them have to go through everything to find what's most important to them. You have so much information here. I really like that the prototypes are tied to the pirate metrics, because you could then put in any of your actual metrics and see what opportunities are most viable for those metrics. Then you could say, I have done research that has directly impacted these metrics, right? I have helped surface information that then helps create things that impacts these metrics. Like that is like the golden ticket. It's going from connecting something that has felt so disconnected from metrics to making it quite simple and straightforward to put these two things together. Being able to say, I've done this thing. It's really important. I don't want to have to beg people to listen to me. Here are some ways that I can connect my research to something that people care about and something that can empower them to make the decisions that they need to, so that we can show that huge impact that we've been having, because we are surfacing the information that is allowing people to make the decisions that move these metrics forward and make the business better, make the product better, and make the users happier. And if that's not why we signed up for research, I don't know what is. Thank you so much for watching this. I really enjoyed it, and I hope you did too. And I hope that this helps showcase ways in which AI can help with making our jobs more efficient and effective, but not taking them away. We are still there. We are still the glue, right? But this just helps us with getting to things faster. It just helps us with being able to sift through information in a quicker way to showcase our impact. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you soon.